Good afternoon, National Lottery. I am Lee Carey. I'm the CEO of the Hummingbird Project, and I thought the best way to find out more information about us and who we are, what we do, and who we help was to bring in our newest member of staff, Jeff. So Jeff it was a previous client of the Hummingbird and a current service user of the Northern Trust. And so I thought I would let him ask me what we are all about and yeah, try and give you some insider knowledge as to the Hummingbird Project. So I'm going to hand over to Jeff to grill me now.
Okay. First question, Lee. Who does your project aim to support?
Okay. So the Hummingbird Project was set up in 2016, and it was set up by myself and a small group of people who have lived experience of a mental health issue, varying degrees. We have different diagnoses and worked with services for different periods of time, but we'd also worked in the mental health sector. And so what we wanted to try and do was create something that brought lived experience in line and combined it with learned and practiced experience to help people who were struggling with their mental health recover, and also share our knowledge to be able to help people to build emotional resilience. So not necessarily people who are struggling with their mental health at the moment, but it allows them to not have to become unwell in the first place and to know how to reach out earlier.
So preparatory more than...
Yeah.
Okie doke. What role does lived experience play in the Hummingbird organization?
You're smiling because you already know the answer to this question. So lived experience is literally head to toe, top to bottom in the Hummingbird Project. So from founder, directors, managers and staff all have lived experience of a mental health issue. So it is something that it is part of the experience that you're bringing to the role in every sense in the Hummingbird Project. I think it allows us to create a new model of working. So we've created our own therapeutic model that we use for emotional resilience and emotional recovery. So that brings the learned and practiced experience of years of working in the mental health sector and working with clients together with our own lived experience. And this is something that we have just got, we've just worked with Queen's University Belfast to do the first review of our service, because it's the first time in Northern Ireland that this has happened, to show how that lived experience being used to help people to recover increases engagement, it removes stigma, it removes that barrier of us and them. We have so much more of an authentic voice when we work with people. To be able to say we do understand where you've been. We have our own tools and techniques as to how we handle some of the feelings and difficulties that you have, and it brings that collaborative aspect into whether it be training that we do or a therapeutic situation one-on-one. It also helps us to co-create all of our projects with the people that we are working with, whether that be the clients themselves or the community groups or the businesses that we work with. It's all about, well, we need to know what your experiences are so that we can then work together with you to be able to solve those issues. And without bringing the lived experience element into that, you then could be providing solutions that aren't suited to somebody's needs. So it is absolutely at our core. And even in terms of our policies and our practices, our HR practices within the organisation, everything is built upon understanding that lived experience plays a huge role in everyday life, and we have to always keep it in our mind's eye, because we will do a better job for everybody that we work with, because we have the passion and the experience of that lived experience. To make sure that we're doing what we would expect when we were in touch with services.
We've been there, bought the
t-shirt.
They're
done that, bought the t-shirt, yeah.
Okay, what do you want to do, and how does your project for the National Lottery, how does the project meet one or more of their priorities?
Okay, so we, you know, obviously I know that some of the funding from the National Lottery will help us to do current work. So again, it is delivering those lived experience led services that we already have. It will be about building even more networking opportunities and allow people like myself and our other directors to be able to go out and share our lived experience for good. But we also wanted to look at a specific project that we could use this funding for. And one of the key issues that we feel is causes difficulty with people with lived experience to have that strategic input and be able to use their experience to build new services and better services for themselves. So we thought that we would do a couple of graphics to explain what this project would look like. So I'm going to pause and hand over to our wonderful service delivery lead, Jill, to give a bit more explanation as to what we're thinking about this.
Last few years, system managers, designers, commissioners, the people who deliver services, have got better at inviting service users to the table to discuss their experiences of how those services impact them. Service users come to that table with often very deeply personal experiences. The problem is that can create a barrier. The approaches are different. System managers, system designers, commissioners and the like often talk in jargon. They're very aware of resources and the constraints of systems, whereas service users come with the narrative of their own individual story, which facilitates a deep understanding of what it's like to live with a mental health issue. But those messages can sometimes get lost. Sometimes they're talking at cross purposes. The Hummingbird Project would like to come together with service users, Lex groups and the various organisations that represent them. Our proposal, with the National Lottery's help, is to work with these people to facilitate really deep conversations to change the narrative for good. We would like service users to be more solution focused. We will help them interpret and present lived experience for good. We'll help them identify systemic improvements that can be made off the back of their individual experiences. And we get them to think about creating change at a systemic scale rather than just their own individual story. Finally, we would like them to have a collaborative mindset, to recognise that they should be working alongside system developers and to recognise that the value of their lived experience is just as equal to the learned and practiced experience of the system designers.
Okay, Lee, why are you doing the project now, and why do you think Hummingbird Project are the best people to do it?
So I think that COVID-19 has brought a new set of difficulties to people who are using mental health services. In fact, very often at the moment, these services aren't available to people. The waiting lists are longer, people are more isolated, people have more to be concerned about, and therefore their symptoms could be getting worse in these situations. And I think that there also is a unique opportunity here after COVID too. Many of these services have been put on ice or had to be, so this is the time for change. This is the time to say, you know, there's lots of build back better conversations going on. So how do we empower the service user of these services to use their lived experience to help inform how services are built back? And I think that that's something that is an opportunity in COVID-19. Why are we the best people to do it? There is no other lived experience organisation in Northern Ireland for the mental health sector. There's lots of peer support groups, but there is nobody who is using lived experience in a solution-focused way. So we all know that lived experience of a mental health issue can be very difficult and very challenging, but actually we are living proof that you can then say, so now what? So what needs to change? What would make it better? How can your story and your experience actually inform the people who create these services to be able to do it better? It doesn't always need to be, your story doesn't need to be only focused on you. You can take that learning and share it so that people can learn from it. Not just the other lived experience leaders and service users, but also the services, because the insight that you have is unique. Service creators and system creators can't have that experience, and therefore we need to be able to uplift service users and lived experience leaders to be able to share that in a way that then makes services better. And I think that we are uniquely placed to do that, because that's exactly what the Hummingbird Project has done within itself, is taken our lived experience along with learned and practice experience and say, so how do we make a better service that's more impactful, better for somebody to engage with, and creates better outcomes.
Brilliant.
Anything else you think I need to say?
No, I think that was quite succinct.
Unusual. Thank you very much, Jeff. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye, Lee.
Bye.